Hello, today we're going to talk about engaging stakeholders for the Career and Technical Education Comprehensive Local Needs Assessment. Here are some webinar logistics. Please remember that the Perkins Subrecipient Handbook can be found on the Educator portal. So when you enter the portal from our main website, find the lockbox. It'll take you to this login and you can search for the Subrecipient Handbook. Make sure you have the most recent handbook. Today, we will talk about Perkins 5 background. We will understand the Comprehensive Local Needs Assessment, the CLNA, as it relates to Perkins V, and we will understand continuing steps. Carl D. Perkins Career and Technical Education Act of 2006, as amended by the Strengthening Career and Technical Education for the 21st Century Act, also known as Perkins 5, describes Comprehensive Local Needs Assessment, the CLNA. So just a quick little diagram. We were talking about stakeholder feedback for the CLNA. So this is about listening to your stakeholders to add feedback to your comprehensive local needs assessment. Perkins funds are intended to improve and enhance career and technical education programs through projects. Projects focus on activities that help meet CTE needs identified in the CLNA. And we also measure student outcomes to determine overall success. Just a little background on the funding allocation. The funding eligibility is based upon a funding formula. Funding is on an annual basis. It goes July 1st through June 30th, and notification of allocations are communicated in April, May. Federal funds must be used to supplement, not supplant, state and local resources. Supplanting occurs when a recipient moves funding from a recurring expense from state and local funds to a federal source, purchases items that are normally and reasonably expected to be funded by state or local sources, or purchases items not directly related to CTE. Funding for CTE comes from a couple different sources. So secondary state funding, teacher salary apportionment, that's from State Department of Education, and programmatic cost funds come from the Idaho Division of Career and Technical Education. Post-secondary state funding is based upon requested and approved FTE from IDCTE. The CLNA requirements are found in Perkins 5, Section 134. We had in the past created a template for secondary and post-secondary entities. And in the past, these guides and templates for the CLNAs were submitted to IDCTE in June 2020. Updates were done June 2022. And now we will have another update due June 30th, 2024. We are currently updating the CLNA process and template, and we'll communicate this to the field. And we hope to have a process that will let you be able to make real-time updates. So what is included in the CLNA? I'm going to go over the 5 questions and just kind of a basic synopsis. We're not going deep into the questions today. We hope to have future sessions on those and how to fill out those sections. But basically, A is how are your students performing? B is an analysis of your CTE programs. C is an evaluation of your CTE programs. D is how are you improving your CTE personnel's recruitment, retention, and training? And E, how are your special population students performing? Special populations. All eligible recipients must verify that special populations have access to all program areas offered in their school through the application process. Special populations are individuals with disabilities, individuals from economically disadvantaged families, individuals preparing for non-traditional fields, single parents, out of workforce individuals, English learners, homeless individuals, youth who are in or have aged out of the foster care system, and youth with a parent who's a member of the armed forces. If you go back to your Perkins Subrecipient Handbook, and there's a section on the data requirements, there's a guide for secondary and post-secondary. And this guide goes into more detail about how we measure those special populations. You'll need to seek stakeholder feedback for your CLNA. So there's a lot of different ways you can do that. Just some examples that we'll talk about today are surveys, interviews, focus groups, listening sessions in person or virtually. You can work through established group meetings like a TAC committee meeting, or you can have your own focus comprehensive local needs assessment meeting. The stakeholders that you're required to talk to are representatives of career and technical education programs, including career guidance and academic counselors, principals, or other school leaders, teachers, representatives of career technical education programs at post-secondary educational institutions, representatives of a state board or local workforce development board, parents and students, representatives of special populations, representatives of regional or local agencies serving out-of-school youth, homeless children and youth, representatives of Indian tribes and tribal organizations, and any other eligible stakeholder that you think would be good to talk to. So you're going to need to gather stakeholder feedback and document, provide evidence of stakeholder participation. That could be copies of completed surveys, meeting agendas, meeting notes, emails, or other documentation that demonstrates that stakeholders were involved in the process. So just some examples are a TAC meeting agenda showing a CLNA discussion, and the meeting notes showed the discussed feedback. You can have listening sessions, meet with CTE teachers after parent-teacher events, ask for feedback received by CTE teachers by parents and students, or you can have a continuous stakeholder survey available. So just some questions that you could ask your stakeholders. What industries are projected to grow most in my local area? What occupations? What are emerging occupations in my area to which students should be exposed? Student questions. Which population groups are underrepresented in your CTE programs, in particular program areas? Overrepresented? Are there additional enrollment discrepancies related to high wage, high skill occupations? CTE personnel questions. Do I offer regular substantive professional development opportunities? In what subject areas do I need to develop or recruit more educators? And just some general questions. Are my students being retained in the same program of study? Are secondary students in my programs earning dual credit or concurrent enrollment credit? Earlier I talked about a continuous survey. Stephanie wasn't able to be here today, but she told me to talk about their process. They have a open survey that the community can fill out, and periodically they send focused emails reminding people to provide feedback, and they receive their feedback yearly and incorporate it in their CLNA. So stay tuned. We plan on having more technical assistance sessions on the CLNA. You will find that information in Top 10 Tuesdays. If you don't have that resource, there's a QR code to sign up to get that communication from the division. Okay. Questions, Erin?
Actually, I don't see any questions in the chat. Am I?
Oh, okay.
I'm not seeing any right now. So.